The Glastonbury Festival is a hilarious and ironic, hypocritical gathering of white, middle-class, left-wing Labour voters who say, you know, build bridges, not walls. Don't they, Jeremy?
If you can see that far, look on the wall right over there that surrounds this wonderful festival. And there's a message on that wall for President Donald Trump. And you know what it says? Build bridges, not walls.
From their gated festival, with a nice big wall around it, they tell Donald Trump, build bridges, not walls. It is a rule for thee, but not for me. Literally. And like you can see, it's the whitest thing in the world. This was from 2017 when Jeremy Corbyn spoke there, because that's the kind of place it is. But as you can see, things have not changed. This is from the 2019 event, and yes, it is still as insufferably white and middle class as before. And so that's why I'm getting a little bit weirded out by the fact that there's a guy called Stormzy who is a grime artist. Now, I don't know who Stormzy is, and I've never heard any grime music. And I'm not down with the kids or anything, but as far as I'm aware, it's inner city, urban music that is often focused around violence and drugs and sex, which sounds great. But it's not normally the kind of environment that the kind of music that comes out of an environment that's very left-wing, middle-class, and the sort of people who go to the Glastonbury Festival. You know, the sort of people who pay £230 a ticket to go into a nice gated area to listen to Jeremy Corbyn speak. You wouldn't think these were the kind of people. And apparently it was a really great set. And, you know, I'm not one to judge any of these sort of things. So I'll take all of this as read. And, you know, I'm sure he did a very good job. But it's the response to this that I find so weird. It's the fact that the Evening Standard in this article here, for example, it's one of the most important things they say is the fact that he's black. Much praise, blah, blah, blah. The Croydon-born grime artist took to the stage in a stab vest embellished with a Union Jack as he became the first black British solo artist to headline the famous festival. So what? I mean, like, is that a big deal, is it? Has Glastonbury got a problem with black people, has it? Is this them making some sort of restoration for their previous marginalisation of black people, is it? Because that's really what it feels like. Why? Why would you make such a big deal out of the fact that he's black? It's not just this article that's talking about it. It's apparently the first black British solo artist to headline Glastonbury. Have there been black duos or, like, you know, bands that have headlined? I have no idea. I don't follow Glastonbury. Why make such a big deal out of this? Why not celebrate the fact that the set was amazing by all of the reports that I've seen? Why not make a big deal out of that? But apparently, the fact that he's black is the thing that we're talking about. And so, okay, let's talk about his stab vest. Bit weird, isn't it? Bit of a strange statement with a British flag on. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is timely and political. And for some reason, it's something that got blamed on Boris Johnson. Not really sure why. At least I wasn't sure until I learned that he had quoted David Lammy in some of his music. I'll show you a quick example.
Trapped in a culture of criminality. The system isn't working. If recidivism rates are 46% for black men, then something isn't working. Alright, first things first, I've been putting in the work. I'm a rebel with a cause. Had problems with the fam, I had problems with the...
No comment at all, apart from on what David Lammy has said here. Stormzy, using his headline spot at the Glastonbury Festival 2019, speak out about the injustice, young black kids being criminalised in a biased and disproportionate justice system. Humbled and inspired that he sampled my speech. Well, yeah, I imagine you would be. I imagine you'd be thrilled. This is great PR for you, isn't it? But whose fault is it? Who's causing that? Just out of interest. I mean, I just want to see where the finger's going to get pointed, because I have a funny feeling it's going to be pointed at a white guy, isn't it? Is it Jeremy Corbyn? Oh no, he's just going to cash in on the virtue signalling points as well. Stormzy made history by being the first black solo British headliner at Glastonbury. So? But could you not have, like, the tallest, the shortest, the ugliest, the most attractive? Like, could you not choose any other factor about him that makes him unique, other than the fact that he's black and a solo artist? But anyway, the performance was political, iconic, and the ballet was beautifully powerful. It just won't go down in Glastonbury history, it'll go down in our country's cultural history. It's starting to feel a bit weird that all of these white people are worshipping like middle-class white people, worshipping inner-city artists and praising them for being black. Is it just me, or am I reading too much into this, or is it just the fact that they keep repeatedly saying he's the first black British solo artist to headline Glastonbury? But like I said, the finger is not going to be pointed at someone like Sadiq Khan for causing a spike in violence in London, stabbings in particular, obviously. Oh no. That finger is going to be pointed, as I said, at a white person. And that white person is Boris Johnson.
Rule number 2, don't make the promise. If you can't keep the deal, then just be honest. I can never doubt Chuck Norris.
So that was him getting the crowd's chant, fuck Boris, which is fuck Boris Johnson, the man who's probably going to be the next Prime Minister. Why? Under Boris Johnson, stabbings in London went down. He actually did things to address the fact that young, mostly black, inner-city youths are stabbing each other to death in the street every single day, often multiple stabbings per day. Like, he's actually done some good in this regard. He actually did something to help the black community in Britain, in London. And yet, fuck Boris. Am I right? Why? What the hell has Boris Johnson done wrong here? But anyway, let's talk about Stormzy's stab vest with the Union Jack on, because apparently it was made by Banksy, which was, it seems to have been news to Stormy himself, which is really interesting, isn't it? So apparently Banksy has an Instagram account, and he said on there that he made a customized stab-proof vest and thought, who could possibly wear this? Stormzy at Glastonbury. Oh, really? But I mean, like, the political message isn't really one aimed at the establishment, in my opinion. The political message seems to be that there is something deeply wrong at the heart of modern Britain in London. Like, the core of the political life in the country, there is something deeply wrong when the politicians can carry on their daily lives in safety and security, while young black men actually do need stab vests and are actually dying. And a bunch of safe, soft, middle-class white people in a secure and expensive walled-off area praise this one black guy who sings about stuff like this for performing some kind of show for them. I mean, it's starting to sound rather macabre now that I've laid it out like that, right? But that is what's happening, and it just, I don't know, there's something about it that really strikes me as uncouth, as rather uncaring and distant. The sort of performative appreciation of this one guy, as if to say, right, we've done our part. We don't have to worry about the poor young men in London who are being stabbed. We don't have to care that this is the consequence of a Labour mayor, and it's getting worse under a Labour mayor, and there's literally nothing he can or will do about it, apparently, even though it is possible to do things about it, as Boris Johnson showed. We're not going to talk about any of that. We're just going to be like, yeah, wasn't this a great performance? Hasn't this become a cultural milestone? I'm sure that many a guilty white conscience in England has been assuaged by the fact that they have done their performance in return and chanted fuck Boris at a black guy wearing a stab-proof vest with the Union Jack on it, as if there isn't a massive problem that we should be talking about instead. We should in fact be blaming this on the government's austerity cuts. Okay, maybe, maybe there are reasons why the black kids are stabbing each other, it's probably not because they're like, well, you know what, I'm very annoyed at Tory austerity cuts. Let's go and stab up Franco over the street or something. Probably not. You know, they're probably stabbing each other for other reasons, and it looks like it's getting out of control. I think it's really something that needs to be addressed. And, you know, something has to be done about the fact that these kids are killing each other. But Sadiq Khan just rolls his eyes whenever it comes up. I've done everything I can. You know, like ending stop and search. Like doing nothing about it. Like worrying about right-wing terrorism or Twitter insults. Things like this. It's anything than to talk about the people doing the stabbing as if they bear any responsibility for the people that they've murdered. As if there's a social problem in these communities that we can just ignore. And just continue to ignore forever, in perpetuity. Until what, they've all stabbed themselves to death? Like, what are we going to do? We can't just sit here and be like, well, not our problem. We're not blackening those gangs. We're nice. We're very, very middle-class white people who can afford £230 a ticket, who can just go to Glastonbury, where we'll be nice and safe. Why on earth is this just being ignored? And yet, but okay, fine, don't worry. You know, Stormzy had a great set, which I'm sure he did. Everyone loved it, which they absolutely seem to have done. Everything's fine with the world. For today, I wonder what the headlines tomorrow are going to look like.